Well, good evening and welcome to the last East Contra Costa Fire Protection District State of the District update. I see I have one viewer on right now. We're going to wait a moment to see the room populate, the virtual room populate. I have the device here on my own personal device. I'm asking anyone that's logged in to get the word out that we all share it. I'm doing that process right now on my own page. I request for you to share it on all of your pages, as I think it's really important to be able to get the information out on the fire district, everything that's going to be going on in the next couple of weeks. I have a lot of really big updates to share with you on behalf of the fire board. I just shared it myself. I ask you to do the same, and our numbers are climbing. So again, I'm going to wait one more minute here, and I do appreciate all of you that have already logged on. I'm going to watch to see our numbers increase, and once they plateau to some degree, I'm going to get ready to roll. So just stand by one more minute. Probably not even that long. All right, we're sitting about a solid 35, and I do anticipate that number to increase. So again, welcome. My name is Brian Helmick. I'm the Fire Chief at East Contra Costa Fire Protection District. And a little bit of background, the state of the districts that we've been doing on Facebook and also on YouTube. This is something we implemented years ago. And I was thinking about that as we approached this evening. As I stated a minute ago, if you weren't on, is that tonight is the last State of the District for the East Contra Costa Fire Protection District. And as we were approaching tonight, it was very bittersweet. It was exciting. I do appreciate having this opportunity to come in front of you to let you know what the current events are with the fire district, what we're working on, what hurdles we've overcome, and what we're striving to do. And we have come such a long way in the last 5.5 years. We've been doing these for about 3 years now, and tonight's the last one. And so tonight what's going to happen is I'm going to do an introduction to explain to everybody kind of what is going on and set the table. And then I'll be going through a slide deck that will bring you up to speed on where we are today, the steps that are coming forward, and the ceremonies that are coming up in the next couple of days. And equally more important, or equally and or more importantly, I provide the opportunity for a Q&A. Any questions, maybe on things that I didn't discuss, maybe things I'm about to discuss, but it will provide an opportunity for you to ask any final questions, and I will provide you with opportunities to get more information in the future, which I'll share at the very end. So again, I really appreciate all you being here tonight. It's been a journey, let me tell you. Those of you that are new and haven't attended these in the past, I welcome you. Those of you that have, you know the East Contra Costa Fire story. Over the past 5.5 years, we've been working to address the EMS fire and rescue services challenges that the Eastern Contra Costa region of East Contra Costa Fire has had for decades. The residents and the businesses, which is intended to speak to, of Oakley, Brentwood, Knights and Bethel Island, Discovery Bay, Byron, Marsh Creek, and Morgan Territory, you have been underserved. You've been underserved in fire, rescue, and EMS services, as I stated, for decades. And the fire district and our partner agencies have struggled for a long time, trying to find ways to correct our historical challenges. We have 2 of them. One of them was to provide adequate fire protection to the existing residents that we have, approximately 132,000 people that live in our jurisdiction today, that in about a 250 square mile footprint, 249 to be specific. And we've never been able to provide adequate fire protection, which is 6 stations. We should have 6 stations today. And as of June 1, we had 3, but now we have 4, which I'll highlight here in a moment. But we should have 6. And it's all about funding. It's a funding issue. And the fire district 5.5 years ago said, you know, we need to go into a journey to demonstrate with our behavior to you, the citizens and the businesses of Eastern Contra Costa Fire, to demonstrate to you that we've done everything. We've kicked over every rock. We've explored every means possible at the federal, state, and local level to be able to address the service level deficits that we have. I'm a resident of Brentwood, so I provide and I receive the same service as you. That journey has been long. We have corrected pension challenges. We have corrected having a sustainable budget, reducing us down to the size of 3 stations to be sustainable, which means we can repeat the service level we have every single year. We address all of our capital equipment replacement issues, our retention issues we had 5.5 years ago. We built a strategic plan with your support. All of those things together, and with the cooperation and the support from the City of Brentwood, City of Oakley, and Contra Costa County, and really the key terms of teamwork, inclusiveness, collaboration, and innovation. All of those things together, and being willing to explore anything to correct the fire service revenue services that we have. One thing I want to highlight as I go into this is that the fire board, myself and the staff, 5.5 years ago, when I was given the privilege to serve as the interim fire chief in April 17, we kind of made a vow to each other that we were going to fix this problem once and for all. And the fire board, which I commend, which was an appointed at that time, and now they have become an elected board of 5, we very much clearly stated is that we want to fix it. We were married to the concept that we wanted to fix fire protection issues once and for all in East Contra Costa, but we were not married to the means of which we accomplished it. And so we went on our journey to explore everything. Everything was on the table. Everything was open. The community was very clear they didn't want an additional tax. And so we stated to them, we will explore and look at a tax, a 1, 2, and or 3 station tax, and we'll put those engineer reports onto the shelf. And then we're going to go into a journey, and we're going to show you through our behavior, our actions, which will be transparent, authentic, and forthcoming, what we can or cannot do. Federal, state, and local. Kicked over every rock. We did things that were innovative. We did things that were challenging. We explored different service models. And throughout that process, I'm happy to report that your fire board, the support of our partner agencies of Contra Costa County, the City of Oakley, and City of Brentwood, and their staff and elects, we were able to work through restructuring the organization, refining the way that we do business, changing and adjusting the way that we did our pension obligations to be able to open 4 stations independently of annexation. And we were able to do that this year. But we still had a 2-station deficit, and we didn't know how we were going to address it. I also want to commend the cities of Oakley, Brentwood, and Contra Costa County, because they were able to work with us to mitigate the impacts of growth and development, which is the root cause of what brought us here in the first place. We're underfunded because for decades, we did not put the appropriate mitigation measures or fees and assessments onto new development to mitigate and or to address the impacts that they provided to the fire service. So we had growth. In the late 70s, we were purely a volunteer organization. We converted to a full-time 24/7, 365 operation. We were still funded as a volunteer fire department. So although we needed 6 stations, we could fund 3. The cities of Oakley, Brentwood, and the county with our fire board, they have now what's called impact fees and CFDs. Impact fees are one-time fee developers pay. The time they pull a permit and build a building, it is restricted funds that go to building future fire stations and buying apparatus. And then the district, ourselves, established a district-wide community facility district, which is called a CFD. What that does is the developers pay for it, and then they transfer it to the homeowner, and reoccurring, they pay an annual assessment to pay for the operational services of the firefighters that are in the stations. So the mechanism of impact fees and CFDs, which should have been in place 4 decades ago, I'm a part of the problem. My home does not have assessments on my home for the impacts that my family provides, but we did address that. And so we know by looking at the general plans of Oakley, Brentwood, and the county over 20 years, we're needing a total of 9 stations. And so we have an existing service level deficit of 3. We have 3 stations, so we should have 6, and we know we're going to need 9. So I'm happy to report to you today that the growth challenge and the mechanism to build the future stations is in place for the next 20 years to build additional 3 stations and fund them adequately. And that brings us to how do we address the existing service level deficits? As I stated to you, through the fire district's work over the last 5.5 years, we had the funding to be able to open a 5th station. I'm sorry, a 4th station, but we still had a 2-station deficit. A year and a half ago, with support of labor, our partner agency, Contra Costa County Fire, we went to the table and we started to look at the service level needs and the revenues that not only East Contra Costa Fire had and how Contra Costa County Fire could utilize those funds. We believe that there was efficiencies in annexation. And it was the last opportunity to go and ask Contra Costa County Fire, can we explore doing annexation or consolidation with you? Because if this is not successful, the only option we have is to go back to our residents and pull those potential taxes off the shelf, put them in front of the residents and saying, we have to choose the level of fire protection we want. Do we want to have adequate fire protection at 6 stations today? And over the next 20 years, we'll grow to 9 stations when growth continues to come in? Or do we want to maintain to be at 3 stations today, and growth will bring an additional 3 stations in over into the future, but we'll have inadequate fire protection services. So 2 years ago, we started working on that journey, and that's what I'm going to report about today. So prior to getting into the slide deck, which is going to bring us up to speed on where we are, what we've done, and what's coming up next, I really want to extend, and I'm kind of beginning here, and I want to end here. To all of you that have joined, that maybe watch us at a later point, to any elected official within Brentwood, Oakley, and or the county, our partner fire agencies that filled the gap when we could not. To you, the residents and the business owners that have been underserved for decades, you held the district accountable. You were equally supportive. You were very clear on what you desired. You participated in our strategic plan we built in 2019, I'm sorry, that went through 2019 to 23. And you've been patient. You've been absolutely patient in regards to working with us as we work through transitioning into the future. So with that being said, if you can pull the slide deck up, please. I'm going to go through a brief presentation. And when I get through this presentation, then I will open up for question and answers, and we'll spend our time here today. Prior to jumping into the presentation, I might ask, and I can already, I believe that people are already starting to put questions in. I'm asking that you do so. Anyone that asks questions, we'll hit all of them at the end of the presentation. We do not anticipate that this process in its entirety will last anything more than an hour, and already 12 minutes and 4 seconds into it. And again, I'll answer questions until we are done. So ask your questions. Anything over 30 words sometimes get cut off. We'll be collecting these from YouTube and Facebook. We ask you get them in early, and I'll give you the best answers I can. If there's something I can't answer tonight, what I will do is I will follow up with you, and or you can follow with me, as I will provide my contact information at the end. So again, start populating your questions now, and let's get in the presentation. Next slide, please. So as I stated, we came to a crossroad. The last opportunity that we had to explore was seeking annexation. Would it work or not? And annexation is a term that means some people may understand annexation as consolidation or a merger. What's different between a consolidation is a consolidation takes a couple entities and it creates a new entity. So it takes 1, 2, 3, and 4 entities, and it creates a new one. And annexation, which we were exploring, is that we were going to work to dissolve the East Contra Costa Fire Protection District and all of its members, and the jurisdiction, the sphere of influence, and the responsibilities would be transferred over to the Contra Costa County Fire Protection District. We started this process when we hit August. It'll be 2 years ago. We started going through in August of 2020, exploring what we call the phase 1 feasibility study on a paper napkin to say, listen, is there efficiencies? And is there economies of scale? And we found that there was. No differently when you look at a Home Depot or a smaller hardware store. Home Depot, Lowe's, the big box stores can do business, and there's efficiencies in size. And that's no different. Contra Costa County Fire, they have 26 stations. We today have 4, which I'll explain here in a moment. But we believe there would be efficiencies in size, and we went through an exercise and we found that there were efficiencies, and that they could take the existing revenues that we have, and that with those revenues, it would get us almost to the 6 stations that we need. There was a little bit of gap to make it sustainable down the road. But with that said, we took the efficiencies of annexation and we leaned into the Contra Costa County's Measure X, a half-cent sales tax. And when that passed, we approached the board and the communities, and we really worked to get the funding to ensure that we can open the 6th station with the collaboration of not only the efficiencies of annexation, but also Measure X. So the only way that it was feasible was going through this process that you see on your screen. I'm happy to report that although we started in August of 20, the LAFCO process, it's all been formalized, it's all been done, the process is complete. And we technically, East Contra Costa Fire, on June the 30th at midnight, June 30th at midnight will be dissolved. The East Contra Costa Fire Protection District will no longer exist. All of its resources, its assets will be transferred to Contra Costa County Fire, and the responsibilities and all fire protection, from prevention, administration, and suppression, will be the responsibility of the Contra Costa County Fire Protection District. Now, with that said, the service level increases are trying to get us to the 6 stations that we need today are already in progress. We've been collaborating and working, and we found an innovative way to actually open Station 95 in Oakley. It's been the station that's been built but not staffed. We were actually able to open that station on June 1st. On June 1st, Station 95 opened, and as it states on there, with paramedics, advanced life support. East Contra Costa Fire, prior to July 1, was a basic life support agency. And there's only one district, Richmond and the west side of the county, and East Contra Costa Fire. There are only 2 basic life support, non-paramedic fire protection districts in the county. And with the consolidation, the annexation, we will not only get additional stations to the 6 stations that we need, but we're also going to be moving over to have paramedics in all of our stations by July of 2023. So today, right now, Station 95 in Oakley is fully staffed and will remain fully staffed. It is through contract because we're technically not going to be annexed until July 1. So we're contracted with Contra Costa County Fire. But on July 1, there'll be a mix of, well, I shouldn't say it'll be a mix at all. It'll be the new organization, the annexed organization with previous East Contra Costa Fire personnel, Contra Costa County Fire personnel, bidding and staffing those stations. Now, on July 1, which is on Friday, we'll be adding, and Station 52 in Brentwood, which I'll point out here on the map in a moment, they will also become ALS. So on July 1, we will have 2 of our 4 engine companies will have paramedics on board. In March of 2023, we will be adding a second engine company to Station 52, and it's actually going to be a truck company. The truck is already on order. They're going to be working out of a regular fire engine. We call it a Type 1 fire engine until the truck arrives. But in March of 23, the goal is to have a second engine company working out of Station 52. And we'll be building a new station behind Pioneer School, Station 51. And we will staff that station. And we'll relocate the truck company over to that other station. And so you'll also be hearing, which is on there today, as you can see, that Station 95 is on there. We are going to be converting all of the 50 series or the 50 stations to Battalion 9. That's actually what we were many years ago prior to annexation of the East Contra Costa Fire Protection District prior to 2002. We were 90, 93, 94, and 95. You're going to start hearing those numbers as we're going to transition to 95. And the reason being, it operationally makes sense. As next to us, Contra Costa County Fire in Antioch all the way to Bay Point runs a Battalion 8, and we're on what we call the far eastern side, which is going to be Battalion 9, and we'll take Battalion 5 and put it back into the system. But what you need to know is that by July of 2023, you'll have a total of 5 companies, all of which will be ALS, and we will be working over the next 3 to 5 years to rebuild the downtown Brentwood station, which will be staffed with another engine company, paramedics on board. So within 3 to 5 years, the existing service level deficits will be resolved. But as of March of 23, we'll have 5, 6 of them already on the street. So the improvements that we need for a long time are already being implemented and already being done. And annexation will be complete on June 30th at midnight. Next slide, please. So to kind of draw a picture and give you an understanding of your service level increases that are coming down the line, on the left-hand side of the screen is the existing current staffing that we have. It says 3 stations on the top, but the green dot is the implementation. You can see how the green dot transferred from the right-hand side of the slide to the left. We now have 4 stations within the East Contra Costa Fire Protection District, and you'll remain, and we will maintain through annexation the contract with CAL FIRE to maintain the Amador agreement to make sure that that station is staffed throughout the year. The CAL FIRE station on the bottom left-hand side, they would be there during the summer months, but during the winter months, non-fire fire season months, that station will be browned out, and we will contract, and Contra Costa County Fire is going to do the same. So the 4 stations are in place, but when you look on the right-hand side of the screen, it's important for you to know that, so as I stated, the existing deficits, Bethel Island is already open. In March of 23, the middle green station, where that's where Station 51 is going to be located, temporarily will run out of the Brentwood Fire Station. But in the downtown fire station, as I stated, the other green spot will be constructed within 3 to 5 years. We may get another engine company on the street and dual staff 51 or 52 in the interim as soon as we can. So within 5 years, this just shows you a picture, the green dot. So what will be resolved, and on the left-hand side of the Bethel Island is already there. As I stated to you, over the next 20 years, the East Contra Costa Fire Protection District has mechanisms in place with Brentwood, Oakley, and the county to incrementally receive funds that will trickle in as new development comes in. And those are currently today in Discovery Bay. There's one in the unincorporated areas, another station in Brentwood, and one in Oakley. So in full build out, as long as the general plans don't change, we'll have 3 in Oakley, 4 in Brentwood, and 2 in the unincorporated areas of the county. That's currently what the build out plan looks like. Next slide, please. So I want you to look at this slide real quick. I'm going to flip back to the previous slide. So let's go back to the previous slide if we can. So this is 250 square miles. This is our footprint. Okay, 250 square miles, 132,000 residents. That's currently the East Contra Costa Fire Protection District. So capture that. Next slide, please. Now you can see on the right-hand side of this slide that it says Oakley and Brentwood. But I'm happy to state, as I stated to you, Battalion 8 is going to be the blue. Battalion 2 is going to be the beige. Battalion 1 is going to be the green. And Battalion 7 is going to be, let's call it purple. Those are all now the resources of which now we will be part of. We always talk about wanting speed and weight. We lack speed because we had a large jurisdiction, minimal amount of resources. We're increasing the resources within the sphere of Oakley, Brentwood, and the unincorporated areas of the East, and that is going to increase our speed. But we never had the ability to increase weight, the calls that come when we need additional support. Each one of those station numbers is part of Contra Costa County Fire, and that is the weight that will now come. It's not an automatic aid agreement. It's not a mutual aid request. It is automatic. It is part of the system, and we will be working with each other. So I will get to the stats here on the next slide, but I just want you to look at this. It's going to be a total of 30 fire stations, 33 pieces of equipment, 30 fire stations, that is including the existing East Contra Costa 4, that will be serving you in the new organization as of July 1. Next slide, please. So to give you an idea of the sphere of how big Contra Costa County Fire is going to be, is that with the addition of our square miles, they will become from 304 square miles to 553 square miles. And the population base, including ours into theirs, is going to be 753,000. And the 2 cities that we currently cover, Oakley and Brentwood, will increase to a total of 11 cities. You will see, as I stated, is that they have 26 fire stations with our 4, including 95 that we just opened, will be a total of 30 fire stations post-annexation. For a total of 33 crews, because many stations have 2 companies in it. The Contra Costa County Fire Protection District incidents in 21 were approximately 72,000. East Contra Costa approximately 12,241, and we have an anticipated call volume in 2022 projected of approximately, give or minus, 85,000 calls. The East Contra Costa Fire Protection District currently has 40 employees. Contra Costa County has 506. The new organization will have 546. Why is that important? We were very much impacted by COVID. We struggled at times to keep stations open. We have obviously a larger area, a larger responsibility, more stations to fill, but we do and we will, and the organization does have a deeper bench. Next slide, please. As I stated to you, on June 30th at midnight, the East Contra Costa Fire Protection District will be dissolved. With that said, we will be having a ceremony at Brentwood City Park, the 35 Oak Street in Brentwood, and it'll be a change of command ceremony. The public is welcome. They're encouraged to come. We want to celebrate this with you. This has been painstaking. It's been a long time in the coming. The reinforcements have finally arrived. They actually started to arrive on June 1. They'll increase on July 1 and March of 23 and July of 23. More reinforcements are coming. And at 10 o'clock, there'll be a transfer of command ceremony. This is something the elects of Brentwood Oakley, the residents and the businesses and children alike, we want to celebrate this day with you. The Fire Board President Oftedal, the East Contra Costa Fire Protection District, he will be transferring his gavel over to the Fire Board of Contra Costa County Fire. And I myself will be transferring my authority as Fire Chief over to the Fire Chief Louis Burchard of the Contra Costa County Fire Protection District. And so ceremonially, when that ceremony concludes, approximately 11 o'clock, it will formally, East Contra Costa Fire will be formally dissolved, and your new service provider will be Contra Costa County Fire, and we will celebrate and we will be discussing what that means for all of you. And we want to celebrate that day with you. So please, it's on our websites, it's on our Facebook pages, excuse me, and our other social media mediums. You don't need to RSVP. You can just come to the event. So please, I'll reinforce this at the end, but we want to welcome you to that. Next slide, please. Many of you know that have been watching for many years know that information sharing, trying to be up to date, trying to be current, and trying to be authentic with you in the good and the bad is something we've always worked to do. We are working currently with the public information officers of Contra Costa County, excuse me, to provide future updates. And that is not only with the cities and the municipal advisory councils, the CSDs, the community service districts, and the town advisory councils, and all of you. I want you to know that our website, the East Contra Costa Fire, will be transferring and forwarding you to. There'll be a landing page as of July 1. They'll forward you to Contra Costa County Fire. We'll be doing the same thing with our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Nextdoor, and Vimeo. They'll be redirected to East Contra Costa Fire channels, and we'll continue to serve you and provide you with updated and adequate information. Today at 4 o'clock was the last board meeting that we ran. And so all future board meetings will be handled by the Contra Costa County, CON means Contra Costa County, Fire Board. And you can find those agendas on the county's website. And for the Fire Board meetings, and the Contra Costa County Board of Supervisors serve as the supervisors and also as the Contra Costa County Fire Board. They also have an advisory fire commission, and that is where all future meetings, which public are welcome to attend, are available on the website. As you can see here tonight, this is the last state of the district here tonight. These will not continue. Next slide, please. But with that said, I want you all to know, and I mean this sincerely, and I should have probably started with this, is although my time and the privilege and the honor I've had to serve you as the Fire Chief of East Contra Costa Fire is coming to an end, I will be reassigned underneath the new organization, and I'll be reporting to Fire Chief Louis Burchard III, and I will be his deputy chief. And I'll be working in that capacity, where my duties are going to be around strategic planning, community risk reduction, managing some contracts, and we're still working on what they're going to be. But I want to let you know I'm going to embrace this change. I'm going to embrace the new opportunity, but I'll always be an advocate for not only the residents, the businesses, and also all public safety, fire, police, and EMS within Eastern Contra Costa and the county as a whole. But my email has already been changed. My old email, as you can see on the top, has been forwarded to my new email that is on the bottom. My phone number is going to remain the same. I asked for you to write it down, and I do want to be accessible to you. I will forward you through appropriate channels. I'll give you honest answers. My authority is not what it is today, and I do honor and respect where my authority begins and ends. But I would be more than willing to have any conversation with anyone that would so desire to continue to serve you to the best of my capacity within the new position I have a privilege to serve in. So prior to opening up to any questions, I just want to conclude by saying Again, teamwork, collaboration, innovation, it has been phenomenal. You know, many people had stated 5.5 years ago that taking the position of the fire chief was a loser. Really, I needed to think twice about coming in this position. That there's nothing that's been done and there's nothing that you can do to fix the fire district. And in one breath, I agreed there's nothing that I can do, but I did not agree that there wasn't a path. I believed if we created the appropriate team and if we surrounded ourselves by the right people, and if the cities of Oakley and Brentwood in the county would come in alongside the fire district, and we can work with the state, federal, and local representatives from the legislature, and if we explored all options and did hard work and answered hard questions, that I didn't know what the results were going to be, but I did believe that we were going to fix it. And I am so thankful for my staff. I can't commend the firefighters enough for holding the line. They have been overworked for way too long, and we've been on borrowed time. And what they have done has been tremendous. And if you see them, although they don't ask for it, they deserve accolades and commendations for holding the line until the reinforcements arrived. And that process isn't done yet, and there's still much more work to do. But I do appreciate all of you and your patience. I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful that the results are what they are. Yeah. God only knew. It was who knew? And I'm celebrating, don't get me wrong, but man, there were some days, I'll tell you what, that I didn't know what we were going to do. And I'm just so joyful. This is joy that you see, that we figured it out. We, the community, the businesses, the elects alike, that we've figured this out. A decade-old problem is a thing of the past. Those that come into our jurisdiction in 3, 4, 5, 10 years, they will never know what you've had to endure for decades. And so with that, I'm going to open up to questions. I appreciate you all being here. I hope I can answer the questions we have here tonight, and I'll give some final words when we finish. So let's go to the questions. They're coming. Thank you very much. I appreciate the accolades. I share those with everyone I stated, the personnel, the board, the labor groups, the staff, the cities, and the county. Thank you. That's I think I addressed that, but I'll repeat. So in March of 23, we will add a second company into Station 52, which is located at Balfour and John Muir Parkway. We have a truck, a tiller truck. It has a ladder that goes up to 100, 110 feet. That will be placed inside of that station until the station that it's going to be assigned at, which is going to be Station 91. I've said 51, but I stated to you that we're changing our station numbers. So when Station 91 is constructed, the truck will be relocated over there. But in the interim, the goal is to have them staffed as an engine company, converted to a truck company with paramedics on it. And we're shooting for March of 23, but supply and demand, we already have the truck on order, but when it arrives, we'll have a truck. And we've never had one. So we're already training our personnel, getting them ready for it. Contra Costa County Fire does have trucks, and we will have access to those trucks as of July 1 outside of mutual aid, which is a beautiful thing. And so you do have trucks, but we'll have one specifically in your community as close to March 23 as we can, but it's probably closer to 24. Next question, please. And it is not going to be Quince. And technically, so Quince, it has water and ladders. These are true trucks. So it's a tiller truck, which will be at the station. There you go. So it's going to be tillers, not Quince. Exactly. Thank you. 20 years. Let me real quick, 20 years. I can think that, yeah, Linda, I'm going to try. The only thing I can think of is that maybe I wasn't clear. The only time I've referenced 20 years is when I'm talking about impact fees and CFDs for future development of an additional 3 stations. So your existing service level deficits are being erased starting on June 1. We'll increase it on March 23rd. And then within the next 3 to 5, we'll erase the existing service level deficit, but over 20 years. We have to wait for growth to come in, and we receive those impact fees to build stations and community facility districts to staff the stations. And once we hit a trigger, we know we have the funds collected to build another station and hire personnel sustainably, which means we can hire them every year to come in. So that's where 20 years comes into the presentation. Hope that answers your question. Next question. Thank you for the thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks, Spike. Love you, man. Appreciate it. That's a good question. Okay, so why did East Contra Costa Fire, why did we sell the Discovery Bay station? So when we were looking at, there were many reasons. We sold multiple stations, to be clear. We sold a station in Bethel Island, which is the old 95. It's been reconstructed and relocated to the new 95. We sold the Byron Fire Station. We have a Knightson Fire Station, which we're using, which was 94 as our shop. And once we build an additional shop and our training grounds, it's going to be relocated, and that will be surplus too. We had many facilities that were on the books, and that were also built at the time for a combination, which means it was career and volunteer, or purely volunteer. It really didn't fit the equipment. It wasn't land. It wasn't the size, and it had to be demolished and rebuilt to take care of not only safety, respiratory protection for the firefighters. There were a lot of things that have to be upgraded. Now, it's also important to understand that prior to consolidation in 2002, the Knightson was covered by the East Diablo Fire Protection District, which was Brentwood, Discovery Bay, and Byron, and Marsh Creek. There was the Oakley Knightson Fire Protection District and the Bethel Island Fire Protection District. Respectfully, all those districts historically, prior to 2002, they built their organizations and they placed stations in their organizations to serve their organizations. When we grew and consolidated, we had to look at response times, station placements, call volumes, population bases, and look at the order of which that we would open stations into the future. We deemed that the location for the station for the district needs to be located somewhere on the on Highway 4, closer to Highway 4, because of being deep in Discovery Bay. It does take time for them to get to Highway 4 and then to Bixler and to head wherever it needs to go. So we're looking at station locations when it comes down to future growth. There also was general plans, and it doesn't seem like it's going to come to fruition, but there was a potential bridge that was going to go from Point of Timber to Discovery Bay, and that would take in the fire station that's currently on Point of Timber in Bixler, and it would put it right in the middle of Discovery Bay within minutes. But that doesn't seem like the concept is materializing. And so we are looking at long-term planning, building additional fire stations, and that just was not deemed. So that was in the process of in refining our finances, making sure that we didn't have liabilities that were depreciating that we weren't using. We didn't think it was economically smart and the best use of funds. So we did sell those buildings, and it went in our capital equipment replacement fund, and it will be put towards opening future fire stations when the need arises. Great question. Thank you. And the Discovery Bay Station on 59, it's there. And it's going to continue to be there. And as I stated, in July of 23, that station will receive paramedics on it. And so that station's not going anywhere. That's going to stay there. So Josh Green's asking, hey, Josh, those who do not know the history are disdain to repeat the 1990 Confire merge. How did that work out? Good luck, everybody. So that itself is an anomaly. So for everyone's understanding, is that in the 1990s, I think it was closer to 1996, is the Contra Costa County Fire Protection District for a short period of time, they were going to work in cover and provide fire protection to the city of Oakland. It was a concept that started to be implemented, and there was a lot of political rub within the citizens of, and again, I wasn't here, so I'm giving you the history that it was relayed to me, and what I'd heard is there was a lot of history with the volunteers of the Oakley Knightson Fire Protection District. They did not desire for Contra Costa County Fire to cover them. It appeared, from what I'm hearing, that the community supported the volunteer firefighters, and they wanted their volunteer fire system versus the Confire fire system. And due to the political will of the citizens and the elects alike and everyone at that time, Contra Costa County Fire returned to the borders of Antioch. That is not what is occurring here today. I can tell you the city of Brentwood, the city of Oakley, and our residents know that with our growth and what we're continuing to do, that we cannot continue to provide adequate levels of fire protection independently of our own, and annexation and the efficiencies of annexation are the best things to do to increase service levels rapidly in the best interest of not only the citizens, but also to create a safer environment for the firefighters. We have complete buy-in through the LAFCO, which is the Land Formation Council of the county. We've had nothing but positive support from not only all of the cities, from residents and otherwise. So I don't want to belay it, but I will tell you that, Josh, I'm confident that the sequence of events that brought to the concept of Confire covering in 1990 is not even in the same arena of how we approach annexation today. And this is going to stay and continue on. Appreciate the question. Next question, please. Is my understanding that Discovery Bay gave ECCF station on Discovery Bay Boulevard and sold it to an individual? So Linda, there's a lot of history. And so what I can tell you is it's not unique to the Discovery Bay station. There is deeds that the fire district has, and I want to be respectful to you and anyone that this is sensitive to. It was a hard topic when we went through respectfully the Discovery Bay station, the Byron station, the Bethel Island station, and also the Nyson station. The communities love their stations, and I want to let you know I worked at the Discovery Bay Fire Station. That was actually the last station I worked out as a captain before going to a battalion chief and before it was closed. When East Contra Costa Fire became East Contra Costa Fire, they received the deeds on all of the stations. And there was rumors, there is history out there, there's nothing recorded. There's nothing legally recorded at the county assessor's office on any of the deeds that state anything otherwise than the fire district's property, their sole property of the district. We are held under statutes, laws, and we are not able to just go sell anything to anybody. We are not able to just give away our equipment or our surplus equipment. We are required by statute to follow a process to get the highest rate of return on any asset that we are no longer utilizing. And that is from extrication equipment to a fire engine to a fire station to anything over $5,000 to $10,000. We need to give it to the highest bidder. And so answering the first part of your question is if it was given to the fire district, any of the fire stations I mentioned to you, there's nothing legally recorded. And that is what the district has to go by, is what's legally recorded. Secondarily is we surplused it according to statute. We negotiated all the deals with multiple bidders, and we got the most revenue for the asset that was sound within the economy at the time of which it was sold. So we were transparent in those processes. We're open in those processes. We understand the optics of them, but I'm confident to tell you that we did everything that we're required to do and was ethically sound on behalf of the fire district. So I appreciate the question. I'd be more than happy to take it more offline, but hopefully that gives you some background and understanding. And anyone else in the other communities that have the same sentiment towards their station, I think the answer is the same. So I do appreciate the question. Thank you. Next question, please. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. Ryan, I think I answered that. That's going to be July of 2023. And let me ask, and there may be a question: why is it incrementally taking so long to upstaff these units? Well, the district is challenged with not only maintaining service levels, but we also have to handle, and that means you have to handle attrition. People promoting up the ranks and also people retiring out of the system and backfilling. So by opening additional stations creates a void, and we need to make sure prior to opening stations that we maintain existing staffing. So we constantly have academies going through. We're planning another academy. When I say we, Contra Costa County Fire is already planning another academy. And all of these benchmarks and dates I gave you are taken in consideration first, maintaining our baseline service level, and then opening new fire stations and or increasing service levels. So The reason why you're looking at it is that we're looking at the advanced life support calls. We have a lot of analytics. We're figuring out the best placements of incrementally what stations go. But we have to be very respectful that we have to get firefighters on board, paramedic firefighters on board. We've got to get them trained, equipped, and prepared to be successful on the streets. And that's why it takes time incrementally to open this up. So it's going to be a transition. We couldn't do it overnight. We don't have the resources to do it overnight. But we have a plan to do it over the next year and a half or next year. And over the next 5 years to finish it off. Great question, Ryan. Next question, please. Thank you, Rich. I appreciate that. Thank you. Hey, thanks, Cap. Captain John Foster right there. I appreciate that. Thank you. Chief Pilot. Chief Pilot, he was one of my captains at Station 57 in Byron many years ago. He's a chief out in Escalon, I believe. He's still there. And yeah, thanks for doing a lot of heavy lifting and training me when I was short tooth. So I appreciate that. All right, next question. Thank you. Great question. Great question. So all of the firefighters and staff. So we have suppression, we have administration, and we have prevention. We also have fire aides and a voluntary fire chaplain. All of the members are going to be coming over. The fire aides, all of our administration that decided to do so. Some decided to take jobs elsewhere and or retire out. All of the firefighters are going to come over. When it comes down to pay, the objective always was to bring people over at their existing rate. As many people know, there is a discrepancy between, we don't have parity, which means East Contra Costa firefighters get paid approximately 15% less to 20% less, depending upon rank and grade with Contra Costa County firefighters. There was no way to correct that immediately, but there is a way to incrementally do it over time. So what we decided to do was that we went into, we brought everyone over at their existing pay, and they incrementally over years will get additional steps and they'll increase over time. So if anyone is taking a loss, it's minimal, and everyone should be coming over and moving forward. Great question. Next question, please. Vince Wells, thank you for your leadership, Brian. We'd not be here today without your leadership. The East Contra Costa Board agree. As a union president, he's the union president for local firefighters, Local 1230, and vice president of California Professional Firefighters. Yeah, Vince, we appreciate the collaboration. We appreciate the support. It was a team effort, and I appreciate your sincere words. Thank you. Next question, please. Yeah, Linda, I do agree that there are fires and that homes do burn down. I would love to talk with you offline, but you do have fire protection. You're going to have access to all 30 fire stations within the area. Discovery Bay is covered, and we run multiple medicals, vehicle fires, and fires there regularly. But again, I want to respect your perspective, and I'd be more than happy to communicate with you. And I do believe that service levels are going to continue to increase in the days and weeks to come than they were a month ago. So I respect your perspective, and I'd be willing to talk with you more about it online. Next question, please. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's it. Okay. All right. So I'll wait to see if there's any more questions that come in. And I want you all to know, and I sincerely say this, and we're at 49 minutes right now. We usually go around an hour. Is that, man, it's, I want you all to know that for me, this is a conversation, you know, continuation, but I guess tonight it kind of brings the conversation to an end in this capacity. I put out a correspondence in the local presses, and I threw it out there through the district's website. And I just want to let you know that as celebratory as I am, I would be lying to say if it wasn't bittersweet. Yeah, I am going to repeat this because I never felt entitled. I never felt that I was owed anything. I did, and I say this sincerely, that it was an honor and privilege, and I can't believe that folks gave me the chance in 2017 to give this individual that many didn't know, as an unknown commodity. I was passionate. I believed there was a path and there was a way. Gave me a chance. And I'm just so thankful that it resulted in the way that it was. So I loved being your fire chief. At heart, I think I always will be. And but I'm really proud of you for sticking with it and for supporting your firefighters in your fire district. I feel tremendously privileged to do it. I see there may be a couple more questions in there. I just want to make sure there aren't any. Is there any more in there? Thank you, Linda. And again, sincerely, call me and I'd be more happy to discuss with you. We do. Do we still have a boat? So great question. And this is important to all the residents of the Bethel Island region and Discovery Bay. Historically, early 2002 at annexation of the East Diablo and Bethel Island, they both had boats, one deployed out of Discovery Bay and one deployed out of Bethel Island. We could not we were at 3 stations. We couldn't even handle what we do 90% of the time well. We run, 5 to 10 boat calls per year, but those calls are pretty substantial when we do have them. We released our boat. We sent it over to Contra Costa County Fire, and the agreement was they could use the boat, but we can call them and they would come. And it wouldn't impact our automatic aid request, so they still have it. So the answer is the boat's still there. It is going to be staffed, and we understand that Contra Costa County Fire is going to be receiving approximately another 100 miles of waterways. We have to look at expanding and or redeploying our marine units. And that is part of the special operations plan of Contra Costa County Fire. So the answer is yes, we have our boat. Yes, we need to look at expanding the services as we're doing on land. But I'll tell you, Contra Costa County Fire, they cover not only by air, so all of the medical helicopters they have and firefighting capabilities is by air. So they have air, they have water, and they have ground, obviously. And so all of them will need to increase and improve as we move forward, but those discussions are in process. Great question, Spike. Keep them coming. Greg, thank you so much. Greg's responsible. His fingerprints are all over our 2019 to 23 strategic plan through management partners out of San Jose. They were very instrumental and kind of the glue to getting through that process. And they work, Greg. Strategic plans work. Here we are. Thank you for helping us define the path. All right. Is that it? All right. So again, thank you. We held on to many of the folks that joined on. So I'm happy to see that. I really appreciate everything that you guys have done. Reach out to me. Come attend the ceremony. It's your celebration. Thank you, Vicki. Greatly appreciate that. Sincerely, I do. So come celebrate with us. I'm signing off. Mission accomplished. Thank you once again. Reach out if you have any questions. God bless. And it's been a privilege and an honor. Thank you.